In the spring of 1940, the People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs committed the Katyn Massacre, or genocide against Polish citizens. The exact location of the graves remains undetermined to this day, with a total of at least 21,768 Poles executed, among them officers and soldiers of the Polish army, but also doctors, engineers, lawyers, teachers, and civil servants. This was approved by the political bureau. We have documents with the signatures of these people. Some say it was Stalin's revenge. Others, more pragmatically, say that they needed a place in the camps. Others say, and these are probably the ones who are most correct, that this was a planned continuation of the anti-Polish operation. The Kremlin's RIA Novosti news agency has published one document containing a statement by Arnold Duret, who was forcibly conscripted into a German battalion formed from prisoners of war during World War II. Immediately after the war, he testified that in 1941 in Katyn, together with other prisoners, the SS dug deep holes. The testimony was meant to support the thesis that the Gestapo was responsible for the Katyn crime. Duret withdrew part of his testimony after returning to Germany in 1954. At the time, he accused the Soviet authorities of pressuring him. I have testimony also from a participant in this murder, Dmitry Tokaryev, who died in 1993. According to a lot of information, he was an accomplice in this murder, but he was the one who gave a detailed description of the very murder of Polish officers carried out by Błochin, Znikubov, and Krywenko, among others. On April 13, 1990, the Soviet authorities officially admitted that the Katyn massacre was one of the gravest crimes of Stalinism. Who will believe Moscow today if it constantly denies, sometimes admits it, then once again denies it? It seems that the Katyn massacre has become too high profile and too obvious of a case to return today yet again to the narrative that the perpetration of the 1940 crime can be attributed to the Germans. According to experts, changing the narrative on the Katyn crime is part of the information war that the Kremlin has been waging against many countries for years. Such actions in extreme cases can even lead to political destabilization in the country under attack. The numerous attacks on Poland are part of a Russian strategy to weaken the alliance between Warsaw and Kiev. Imposing such a hostile narrative that Poland has intentions to annex the western territories of Ukraine. At the same time, Russia is aiming to portray itself as a state that respects international law and humanitarian values. Hence, the narrative seems to have emerged once again that it is not Russia that is behind the Katyn massacre, but someone else entirely. Caritas Poland has donated nearly 600 million zloty in humanitarian aid to Ukraine. In contrast, the Polish government's support for Ukraine is estimated at 30 billion zloty. In terms of donated military support, Poland is in the lead. Putin's Russia, or the Soviet Union, realized that by admitting this, they had basically put an equal sign between German Nazism and Soviet communism. Putin, from the very beginning, as he came to power, tried with the help of useful historians to deny the Katyn massacre, because he wants to rebuild the Soviet Union as it was. On April 10, 2010, President Lech Kaczyński and government representatives were headed to Katyn to honor the victims on the 70th anniversary of the crime. However, the ceremony did not take place due to the crash of the Polish Tu-154 plane in Smolensk. To this day, the Polish government has not received a detailed documentation on both the 1940 genocide crime and the 2010 presidential plane crash.